I'm 41 years old. I earn a salary that puts me in the top 2% of earners in the UK, and yet, if I followed the normal path, I'd still be working for another 26 years. That doesn't make sense to me. So I built a plan to retire at 55 instead. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm trying to do it, using the UK's pension system, ISAs, and some very boring, but effective investing. A bit of background about me. I work in tech and have done for almost 6.5 years now. I'm a platform engineering manager. And yes, I earn well. I'm not going to pretend otherwise, because my salary is a big part of why this plan is even possible. But a high salary doesn't automatically mean financial freedom. I know people earning £150,000 a year who struggle with money. Lifestyle inflation, bad decisions, no real plan for their future. Big income without a strategy is just a bigger hole to fall into. Almost 9 years ago, I looked at my finance and realised something uncomfortable. I was broke. I had debt I couldn't afford, no savings, and after 20 years of working, I had just £12,500 in a pension. That was the wake-up call. Since then, I've been on what the personal finance community calls the FIRE journey. Financial independence, retire early. And this channel is me documenting that in real time. Real numbers, warts and all. So what does retiring at 55 actually look like for me? Let me give you the numbers. For this plan to work, I need two things in place by 55. First, a stocks and shares ISA with £250,000 in it. That's my accessible money. The part I can draw from the moment I stop working without any penalty or age restriction. Why do I need £250,000? Well, I've worked out that my current annual expenses is around £75,000 per year, including our mortgage. And at 55, I'll still have 2 years to go before I can access my pension. So £150,000 of that is to cover my living expenses from 55 to 57. And what about the other 100k? Well, that's going to be needed to help clear my mortgage at 57. Which leads me nicely on to the second thing I'll need in place. That's a pension pot of around £1 million. Now that sounds enormous, but remember, I can't touch my pension until I'm 57 at the earliest under the current rules. So the ISA bridges the gap between 55 and 57 as I mentioned, and then the pension takes over for the rest of my life. From that £1 million pot, I can, under current rules, take 25% tax-free. So that £250,000 plus the £100,000 left over from my ISA will be around the exact amount outstanding on my mortgage in 16 years' time. We'll get onto the size of my mortgage in another video. Right now, at 41, I'm partway there. I'm not going to give you the exact current figure today. I'll save that for a dedicated portfolio update video coming soon. But I'm in and around the £100,000 invested range across my accounts. I have 14 years to close that gap. 14 years doesn't sound like a long time to do that, but compounding is a remarkable thing. If you're not familiar with how compound growth works, I'll do a full video on that soon, because it genuinely changes the way you think about money. But here's the part most people in the UK don't realise. The government actually gives you 3 incredibly powerful tools to build wealth faster. And if you're not using them properly, you're making life much harder than it needs to be. Now here's where it gets interesting for anyone watching in the UK. Because we have 3 genuinely powerful tax-advantaged accounts available to us. And most people either don't use them at all or don't use them properly. The Stocks and Shares ISA. You can put up to £20,000 per year into an ISA. Every penny of growth and every dividend inside that ISA is completely tax-free. Forever. It's one of the best financial vehicles in the world and we barely talk about it. At the moment, I'm only investing £150 a month into this. However, from April, when my tax code resets, my take-home will increase by around £150 per month, and I'll be putting that straight into my ISA. On top of that, assuming nothing dramatic changes economically, in October, my mortgage deal is up for renewal, and the rates are quite a bit lower than when we bought our house in 2024. This should free up somewhere between £250 and £500 per month, depending on the rates available at the time. So all being well, I could be investing somewhere between £550 and £800 per month by the end of this year. The second of those accounts is the SIP, the Self-Invested Personal Pension. This is my personal pension that I control. If I contribute £800, the government automatically adds £200 in tax relief. That's an instant 25% return before the money's even invested. I hold a range of global index funds inside mine. I currently use a SIP for 2 purposes. The first is to merge old workplace pensions each time I leave a job, rather than having to track dozens of them all the way to retirement. I'll just keep them all in one place. The second is to make contributions for my own limited company. I'll cover in more detail in future videos, but I own small 2 companies for stuff I do outside of work, so I've recently started adding £1,000 per month using this method. The third is the workplace pension. My employer also contributes to my pension on top of my salary, and that's free extra money. If you're not maximising your employer match, you're leaving money on the table. Full stop. I currently add £1,000 per month to my workplace pension, and my employer adds another £324 on top. Between these 3 accounts, I have a clear strategy: add any extra money to my ISA, maximise employer pension contributions, and top up my SIP from my limited company. Everything invested in low-cost index funds tracking global markets. No trying to time the market, just consistent, boring investing, which is exactly what works long term. There will be challenges, and I want to be straight with you, because this channel is about honesty, not performance. Retiring at 55 on a £1 million pension is not a plan that works for everyone. My salary gives me options that most people don't have. I know that. And I'm not going to pretend that what works for me automatically works for someone on £30,000 per year. But here's what I do believe. The principles apply at every income level. Spending less than you earn. Investing the difference consistently. Using the tax-advantaged accounts the UK gives you. Understanding how compound growth works. The end goal might look different. The timeline might be longer, but the direction of travel is the same. And frankly, the UK is genuinely underserved when it comes to personal finance content. Most of what's out there is American. 401ks, Roth IRAs, rules that simply don't apply to us. This channel is built specifically for UK investors, UK pension rules, and the UK FIRE path. So that's the plan. Retire at 55, £250,000 in an ISA, £1 million in my pensions by the time I hit 57, and 14 years to get to the first big milestone. Over the coming weeks and months on this channel, I'm going to document every part of the journey. Monthly portfolio updates, deep dives into ISAs, SIPs, and pensions, the psychology of investing, how to budget properly, and a lot of honest conversations about money that most people avoid having. If that sounds useful, subscribe. In the next video, I'll break down exactly how much I need to invest each month to make this work, because £1 million sounds huge, but the maths behind it is actually simpler than most people think. And drop a comment below telling me where you are on your own FIRE journey. I'll read and reply to every single one. I'll see you in the next one.